So Bradley,
Hey.
this arc is the most confusing and out of place thing in One Piece in all of One Piece.
This
I
is
would,
the most hated arc in One Piece. I'm just gonna preface by saying that.
I can
yeah.
believe it.
There's a
Um,
second arc that people also dislike later on, but it also has such rich themes that they're like, all right, it's not as bad as Foxy.
Yeah.
However, you are on a podcast with the world's singular defender of the Foxy arc, and you will hear from me, sir.
yeah. And
I got things to say.
I don't even dislike this arc because I think all the fights that go on here are actually really fun and entertaining to watch.
That's
Um, Also, it needs to be said, this volume coming up, volume 33, which is the majority of the Davy back fight, this is like some of the most impressed I have been with Oda's art in the entire fucking story.
as I was rereading this because I like to be ahead of Bradley now. I was fucking losing it while reading some of these panels.
Yeah.
Really excited to get to them. I'll just say early on a reason why this arc is so hated. It's also drawn out in the anime. I think I could see why you would dislike it in the anime, but in the manga it just flows by because it's like a volume and a half at most, right?
Yeah.
So in the anime, in the donut ring, they add like a thing where every Straw Hat is in the donut ring, not just the three that were in it.
Oh,
So they inflate it like that. I think they might even add a fourth like game somehow. Just all these little weird things they do to extend this as filler within a story arc, which
Yeah.
does not help. But moving
Yeah.
on.
like I could see how like this does feel like a little bit of like a weird pacing arc. And I could see how if it was any longer than it is, people would be really goddamn mad. Or I could see how even
More
normal
mad.
people might be really mad about it as is.
Um,
I enjoy
I did catch some interesting thematic things that I'll try to bring up here because I was surprised. I was like, oh, there's actually some stuff going on in the background that's kind of hard to catch.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be going through this volume quicker than we would normally go through one,
Yeah.
but I want you to bring that stuff up when
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I have to say about this arc is chapter 309. So we're on 306, so it takes a while to even get there.
Okay. The earliest sticky note I have is whenever they're explaining the Davy back fight, or a lot of the Straw Hats are like, okay, what the fuck is that? And Sanji actually knows what it is, and I really like this where, like, of course Sanji would know what it is. He worked on a boat with pirates coming to and from all the time, and
His chef was an ex-pirate.
yeah, he just does a really good job of, like, Oda, that is, does a really good job of like keeping the characters like consistent and making the world feel lived in. Like, of course Sanji's gonna know what the Davy back fight is. It's just really cool. What's this next sticky note I have?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. This is funny. So luckily the horse is okay. It didn't die. They look over back at it. Tanjit's giving a thumbs up, but the horse is also giving a thumbs up, which is fucking funny because it's a hoof. There's just like a little growth coming out of his hoof. There's like a little growth coming out of his hoof, and he's giving a thumbs up. So
I'm trying to find that. Where is that?
It's on page 10
All
or
right,
11.
thank you.
where is it? Yeah. I just think it looks hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know. I love it.
If there's anything I think anyone could defend this arc for, as it's got like a lot of humor thrown into it.
Yeah. So they kind of detail, well, they don't detail like what each challenge is yet. They just name each challenge and they show us what the split ups are going to be. And I feel like something that I always bring up anytime we go into like any mini arc is Oda just picks really fun split ups.
Yeah.
Or he just picks really fun ways to split up the Straw Hat crew. Because like for the first event, like you have two people, Usopp and Nami, who are like the weakest combatants. And you have Robin, who, while she can be really strong, she's got to be on the water, and she's a devil fruit user.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
I
Round
think,
two.
yeah, more importantly is round two.
Yeah.
There's been this undercurrent of Zoro and Sanji's rivalry, and like it's been there for so long, and it never gets fully addressed aside from them like kind of just shitting on each other all the time. And then you get this event that is going to be just them, because spoiler alert, Chopper actually won't be a part of it.
Yeah, because like you said, it's kind of been on the back burner in the background where Oda has them shit on each other just often enough so that whenever we get to this arc, it doesn't feel jarring when it seems like they totally hate each other.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And then of course Luffy gets to do round 3 combat.
Of course, yeah, and I'm the big boy.
So this is really cool. We look at the team that they're going to be going against in the donut race, and I think this is the first time we've seen a Fishman since Arlong Park.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And so I forgot, are fishmen natural or were they created? Did they come?
No, they're natural.
They're natural.
It's one of the races of One Piece. One Piece has a lot of different races, and then also human offshoot races where they're human, but they're like they all got like weird things. Like there's a race called whatever. There's just weird races.
Don't worry about it. You'll see him.
On
this
question corner going into chapter 307, this person says they wanted to reread One Piece, and it's two readers who are kind of rereading One Piece and counting all of the times that they saw Panda Man. So this one guy says in Skypiea alone, he counted 14 Panda Mans.
Jeez.
And this other guy says from volumes 5 through 31, he found him 92 times.
Jesus.
Which, like, I'm fucking slacking.
Yeah, that's one thing we don't really do on this podcast. We are not your source for Panda Man news.
Yeah.
I noticed him as we're reading the volumes. Oda highlights some Panda Man sightings. Like he has like in between chapters, he has like he shows like a little page from a little panda.
Yeah.
But
I think he also says that Panda Man appears in the anime sometimes.
Yes. So. Well, Panda Man, his real name is Pan D Man, as you well know.
Whoa.
Well, that's a fun fan joke that I hope becomes true.
That would be fucking cool. Panda Man's gonna be the final boss.
Hell yeah.
So the donut race, we're not really gonna commentate on it. I mean, it's really fun. There's a lot of fun gags here.
I think the fake Go post is my favorite because that got me.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, they actually like I don't know, like some of these tricks like probably would have got me. I think the coolest thing about the donut race is that we get to use like Usopp's impact dial that he took from Skypiea. Like, I think it's so cool that just with every arc, I feel like there's one thing that they get that is just going to be more relevant for the future. Because like Alabasta, Nami got her climate baton. It's like, hey, that saved her life against Kami and Neru. Like, oh, Usopp had the idea that he should trade for these dials at the end of Skypiea, and it's like, oh, well, they wouldn't have won the donut race without it. And I don't know, I just think it's really cool.
Also, Nami gets a prevalent moment of understanding sea currents to move around them. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's pretty good they had the navigator on their race team.
When you saw this volume cover and you saw Afro Luffy, like what were your thoughts?
I had no expectations going into this volume. I was like, I don't know what the fuck we're about to get into here.
God, I love Afro Luffy. We'll talk about him later.
Like, I think I figured that this was I think I figured there was going to be a mini arc before we really get into the meat of Water 7, but I didn't know that. I don't know. I saw this cover. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck. I just love how into the whole Afro thing everybody is, except for like maybe Nami.
Zoro also is into it, but notably Sanji super is. He's
yeah,
like, whoa.
Luffy is a soul brother.
What the fuck?
Chapter 309.
Yeah, we in there.
Goes through the fake goalpost, which is fun. Wait, no, they don't. They go through the real one. They caught up.
Yeah.
Well, they did go through the fake one, but then they also went through the real one.
They caught up due to the slow beam.
The slow beam, which is pretty cool.
This is a really cool fruit.
I think it's a really it's even cooler than it appears at first. Because when he just first uses it on their boat, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it makes stuff slow. That's cool. But then he demonstrates it with the cannonball, where like stuff will resume at full speed after it wears off. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about the cool uses of it later. I like how he gets hit by that cannonball demonstration.
Yeah.
But it's interesting the way they explain this too. It's like everything in our world is just us not understanding something until we do. And there's these slowpoke particles that do exist. We don't fully understand them, but because they're a natural substance in this universe, my fruit can use them without humans fully understanding them. That is such a weird explanation, and I kind of dig it. It's weird.
Yeah, I was like, I could do with it or without it. It was interesting, I guess.
It's like a whatever you say, Oda kind of thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that he's talked about in Question Corner.
I think it's more interesting that there is this thing, regardless of how much it makes sense, there's this thing that humans don't understand, but because it's natural, a fruit exists to manipulate it. That's kind of neat.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Chopper. Yeah, the Foxy Pirates choose Chopper, and we get a really fun moment where Zoro steps up to like give a speech to Chopper, where he says like, you know, if you're a man, then act like one and see this through to the end. And I like that because Chopper isn't just a reindeer; he's also a man
and a pirate.
And I don't know, it's really fun. And he snorks up his snot, and he's like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a man, and I'm gonna pull through."
This also relates back to Skypiea, where we mentioned that Zoro has this kind of like weird like big brother attachment to Chopper that isn't like shown a lot, but like it's definitely there in the background when you look for
it. I try to point out every time he ran into it because my note here in 309 was Big Brother Zoro. It's like another great example of their little relationship within the crew.
Yeah, man, the whole crew just has really cool relationships with one another.
Yeah. So this is the part of this arc where I just kind of was like, like it just really was overbearing for me.
I could not disagree more. This is the best part of this arc.
Yeah, this is the most impressive part of the arc for me. Not necessarily because of what's happening. For me, it was the art, which I don't know how cool it is in the anime, but this is like some of the most impressive like movement I've seen in manga drawing ever. Like, it is fucking insane.
I'll do you one better. I love the attacks, the team compositions.
Oh yeah.
Okay, before the fight even starts, let's get into art piece number 1. It's in the end of chapter 309. We get this framing of the 3 combatants they're about to fight. And it's in this stacking format where they're each bigger than one another. And Patty is fucking busting through the panel. He's so big.
Yeah.
It looks so like, good.
And it's so good that we hadn't seen these 2 like giant guys in the background before, because the smallest one who we have seen before, Hamburg, you know, we thought he was fucking giant before. And so whenever I first turned this page and I saw the actual giant one, I assumed like, oh, he's big. He's probably around the same size as Hamburg. And then you look down, it's like, oh, no, Hamburg's way down there.
and to put it all together, Zoro and Sanji, normal sized humans, are always in the forefront. There's actually a couple times where they do really cool framing that they make sure that Zoro and Sanji are there, and then you just get to see these giants.
Yeah, it's so cool. We're gonna be talking a lot about the art, which is kind of a shame that this is a podcast, but
we'll try our best to point out which panels we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Again, the first thing we see next chapter is another framing like that.
Yeah.
I just like that Sanji's the ball.
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's really interesting that we're going into this and they tell Zoro he's not allowed to use his swords, and he's like, all right, let's do it. And I don't know. It like, man, Zoro and Sanji have a bunch of fun like shit talking with each other.
Yeah, that's the third thing that really pulls this as my favorite part of this arc is Zoro and Sanji are very fun together here.
So the Giants are kind of immediately totally shitting on Sanji and Zoro. One piece of art that really stuck out to me a little bit further in this chapter, the medium-sized giant one, he does this spinning tackle move towards Zoro, and he hits Zoro's head into the ground. And I pointed this one out to Willer. It's really cool because, like, the little impact graphic that you always see in manga, like the little spark where something gets hit, the impact is actually pretty far away from Zoro's head, which is on the ground. And this is a technique that Oda does a lot, where he doesn't show the moment of impact. He'll show like a millisecond or two after the point of impact, where here, because the little impact spark is not touching Zoro's head, it just kind of sells how hard he got hit. It's like his head flew to the ground that fast after he got hit.
I want to bring up, just on a choreography level, the team attack that these guys do. From slipping Sanji and passing him up, and then you smack Zoro down, you launch Sanji up, and then next panel you got Hamburg with the dunk, or he's going for the dunk.
Yeah.
And this little panel where, like, it's the anticipation before he lands just looks really cool. A lot of speed lines are being used here to, like, match the high speed like rate at which they're moving, where even Chopper has one just from reacting. He has the speed lines. Zoro manages to clinch it by knocking them into one another, which is just great.
It's so cool. And like when he knocks them into each other too, it does that same thing where their heads are on either side of the impact thing that's floating in the middle. So it's like you can tell that they hit and their heads just like clonked apart like that. And it's so cool. There's so much movement with these team attacks you were talking about. It's like, why do you even need the anime? Because it's like there's so much motion to Oda's drawing. Like I can feel this moving in my head when I'm looking at it.
Like fucking anime when you got this.
It's so good.
That was just the beginning. It gets even better next chapter.
Oh my god. Like some of the team attacks that Zoro and Sanji are going to do are fucking insane.
Yeah.
And even like if we're talking about movement, this part where the giant one is stomping around with his spike boots, where it's showing like these after images of his feet. Like I can hear that, and I can like feel the ground rumbling. It's
notably, something about the way it's drawn, you can tell he's not just stomping but dancing.
Yeah,
as he's doing it. It's
super I feel like
cool.
He's doing like a shuffle kind of or something.
Yeah. Love Sanji flinging his shoe at the referee.
Yes, man, this referee's a dick. Oh man, in this move where Zoro gets like. He gets Mario forward aerialed into the ground, and then the one of the guys with the elbow plates gets forward aerialed into Zoro, who's already in the ground.
Yeah, it's Jesus, man.
Dude,
yeah,
that next fucking page. Oh my god.
No, hold on. There's taking it too slow. I want to talk about the roller coaster attack where they're just slipping on his body. By the way, this is a giant fishman, which is a fun little mix here. It's cool to see something like that in a crew that captures other crews. But the anticipation of the smack before he launches Hamburg into Zoro,
man,
is really good. The impact looks brutal. And then they immediately go into the follow-up attack where they launch Pickle into them. There's too much going on. Like, there's all these cool bumps and passes that they do to one another.
Dude, in one of my Omega favorites, they hit Sanji into the spiked shoulder pad, and then at the point before you would turn the page, there's like this hand that appears with the speed lines on it. And I don't know, like, before I turned the page, I could already feel that hit. Like, I don't know, you turn it and he just gets spiked into the ground.
Which has the same hit effect you've been praising, and this one's like the most severe of them all.
Yeah.
Because
like
the hit effect is up there, and Sanji's all the way at the bottom of the ground.
Like, this arc itself feels borderline filler, but motherfucker, these fights are actually so good.
The ending of this fight is when it gets really real. Hey, Cook, lend me a hand for 10 seconds.
God damn. This combo attack.
Let's just talk about like their little rivalry. It's just them being dumb boys.
Yeah,
But
it's just guys being fucking guys. You know,
they're just two. They're both too alpha, and they clash with each other. And somehow it's been really well built up.
just fucking guys being guys, dude.
Nami reading with these baboons is very cute.
The hamburger combo attack would have been cool if not for the fact that they were about to get dunked on. And like, I really like their strategy here because it's like clearly they've been physically outclassed by these guys. So from a writing perspective, it would be weird if all of a sudden they were able to just punch these guys out. So they try a different strategy at first where it's like, oh, if they're cheating and using weapons, we can use their weapons against each other. So they like knock these guys into each other's weapons.
All right, here comes the cum combo.
Y'all,
from page 6 to the end of this chapter, it is some of Oda's finest action work. So Sanji doing the cartwheels, the way he's drawn here just looks so good. I can't even put my hand on it. It just looks like he's just zooming through, and the impact with the kick, and then you lead with him crouching down and the anticipation of him just launching Hamburg up so high.
One Piece is a manga you can hear.
Yes.
I can hear these kicks. It's so good.
You go on to the no sword style Dragon Twister. This one kind of blew me away.
Oh,
and this one's really subtle. So in the page where he's actually doing the Dragon Twister, the one that where he's actually saying Twister, look at the speed lines on Pickle's face and how they're curved.
Yeah.
And then that same curve follows through to Zoro's face. And then it follows through to his arm as he's spinning. What the fuck, dude? It's so good.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought up that like the speed lines curve this like it's like the same arc on their faces.
Oh, it's
Oda is a fucking god.
But then we're not done yet, folks.
This is the maybe borderline like top 3 coolest attacks I've seen in the story up to this point.
So you got the bad manners kick course to straighten him up, but then you have Zoro has done this move with Luffy before, if you'll recall, where Luffy grabs onto his leg and he shot him towards Wapple.
Yeah,
I believe. So this page where after he's kicked Zoro into the air. So you read a manga from right to left. As you're reading this sequence of Zoro flying up, the panels are getting smaller and smaller as you're moving down. So you're like focusing on this one moment where Zoro grabs the teeth just to build up that anticipation for the moment where he flips him over.
God damn.
And just something about that motion of him flipping him over because of the way the panels are set. Oh, man. I hope if anyone has access to the manga as you're following us along here, definitely worth following along for what we were talking about.
Him grabbing that tooth and flipping over and dunking this motherfucker in the inner tube. It's so good. It is so good. People like, I don't know. I'm sure people would probably hate this arc if they watched the anime. I thought this was like the coolest fucking fight.
And that was my defense of Zoro saying this is, or of Joe saying this is where it gets dumb. It's like
if
no.
If this is like the worst One Piece has to offer, I'm not worried. Like,
God,
this is fucking amazing.
Whew. All right, let's breathe a little bit. Let's do some dumb boxing.
Yeah, we get our breather. They claim Chopper back, and it's funny because the Straw Hats are like, oh well, I mean, you could steal the captain and instantly win the next round, but then he would be on our team, and they're like, oh fuck that. So they would rather risk losing than getting a guaranteed win with the captain.
There's this long running gag of just Foxy getting very easily offended.
Yeah, like the point head. And another thing we haven't been talking about, which is really fun, is that they set up like a carnival around the Davy back fight, and like between events, the Straw Hats are like going around buying food and pins.
I like these panels where they're asking for peanuts, and the word bubbles are shaped like peanuts. That's very
cool. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun.
I like it's very much Oda trying to do like a spring or sports festival kind of stereotypical thing you would see in like
this is the sports arc in One Piece.
Another thing I want to mention here is that I think Robin's like dialogue in this, in terms of comedy in this arc, is on point. Like she's just really funny in this arc.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun just because like we get interactions with her and the rest of the crew where like, you know, Sanji's like, oh, that's cool. Do you love me now? And she's actually like, you were cool. That was fun.
And notably, she's still dropping "Hey Navigators" here as opposed to names. Yeah.
So hey.
But like but now she's comparatively to the last time, she's really opened up to be a lot more friendlier.
Yeah, totally.
Comparatively at the beginning of Skypiea, where she just very much was like, here's all the information you need. Now she's being a little bit more sarcastic and a little bit more open and friendly towards everyone now.
Yeah, she's opening up. It's great. So they spin a cannon to decide on the battlefield for boxing, and by pure coincidence, it lands in the very center of the Sexy Foxy boat. Did they call it the Sexy Fox?
I believe so, right? That's the name of the boat, the Sexy Fox?
Yeah.
I just like this little moment of Chopper mending Zoro and Sanji's wounds. It's cute.
Yeah. And then we see Foxy the Silver Fox come out with his boxing gloves, and then right before we see Luffy with his, there's like a panel of a mini flashback where Usopp's saying like, Luffy, this hairdo will make your punches stronger, and of course Luffy's like, really? And we see him with his fucking afro. It's fucking awesome.
Wait, where is this flashback?
It's right above the Afro Luffy panel. But
like,
we get another one after.
Yeah.
I like their reactions where Zoro's like, what is with that? But like Chopper and Sanji are all for it.
Oh yeah, dude, they fucking love it.
I love Usopp and his get up as a coach.
Oh Jesus.
This like made me go like 180 on like this arc where like I didn't really enjoy the ring because I couldn't follow the action lines that were being drawn between Sanji and everything. But seeing Luffy in this stupid ass afro made me laugh so loud. It's so good.
So we're about to move into chapter 314. This is got fucking A, dude. I just remembered like an hour ago when we were like, yeah, chapter 300. So,
what?
We're starting a new chapter cover story, the 7th one. It's titled "An Angel Comes Down from the Sky." My first thought, like obviously now I know who it is because I've read chapters past this, but my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe an arrow didn't make it to the moon. So
I don't remember.
Tragic.
So yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Luffy.
Yeah, we go into we go into a flashback where they're in the fucking locker room.
Oh my
and he's
God.
like, I'm so glad Usopp is his corner man. He's like, it's been asked, do champions wear afros or do afros wear champions? Even modern science cannot solve this riddle. This hairdo will make your punches stronger.
It's so good.
This is fucking hilarious.
This
Oda
is the
is
shit
funny.
that like it shouldn't fit into a story that is as rich as One Piece is, but it does.
Yeah, you have like these fucking like actually heartbreaking tragic storylines of like people's countries falling apart due to these political struggles and people losing faith in their gods, and then the very next chapter is like your inner soul brother is on fire. Oh my God. It's like it's even funny because like Zoro and Nami are like, oh my God, like come on. And then even like Sanji's like, his inner soul brother's on fire, and Robin's like, I think it's cute. It's fun.
Robin warming up to the crew gives me life. I can live
really
a year
does.
longer now.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps that Luffy actually looks genuinely badass.
He looks fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
After Luffy's fucking rad. I like this little panel of him just practicing his punches. They're just moving so fast.
Yeah. Boxing gloves.
Without guts.
Yeah.
And I love we've gotten to the point where even like the members of the Foxy crew think Luffy is fucking cool. It's just so awesome.
On to the fight. There's a lot of fun stuff with this fight as well.
I really like this fight actually.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Again, this one benefits from being manga form because it just moves really nicely with the manga pacing.
Yeah. Slow Beam is actually pretty fucking good, as it turns out. We get really cool stuff where it's like he has all the cannonballs floating in the air, and like he can stand on them, and you need to be careful which one you pick because they could just go flying at any moment.
I really like after his first Foxy Rush, the panel of Luffy taking it all in at the same time with the afro spiking out to match the impact lines. Looks really cool.
Yeah. There's just like a bunch of really cool stuff. Like there's one later where he does like there's a smoke screen everywhere, and there's all the silhouettes of the Foxy target practice things, and Luffy's like, "Where are you, Pinhead?" And the real one is like, "Why would you do that?" And that's how he finds him.
I like this one of the floating heads, and Foxy is one of the heads, and he just fucking smacks Luffy's face.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fun fight, man. People are too hard on this arc.
Man. Luffy's soul brother coming out. It's so good.
Punk ass.
The ship is getting destroyed, and so I imagine he picks this battlefield for their ship every time they do this.
Yeah.
Which isn't a problem for him because they have really good carpenters in their crew. I know someone who's looking for a good carpenter.
Carpenters are big deals. I mean, also notably, this ship has all these traps that he obviously abuses.
Oh yeah.
When Luffy busts through the wall and he falls into the spikes, this is too much.
Yeah, that was really good. And like, the funny thing is, like, so he runs into the spike room and then he hides around the corner, and his idea is like Luffy's gonna run into the room and impale themselves on the spikes. In reality, Luffy shoots the wall with a cannon and knocks him into the spikes. But it's funny. Luffy didn't even mean to do that. He didn't know Foxy was there. I think he was just playing with the cannon.
It's funny. So this is setting up a thing where it's like Luffy is not very good against crafty opponents because he's always been a creative fighter.
Yeah.
But when you're more creative than Luffy, he just kind of has to instinct his way around. We saw a little bit of that with Mr. 3 as well. Where he's falling for this absurd gag where like the ship doctor is talking to him and the ship chef is talking to him and he's just falling for it.
Yeah, I really like these parts where Foxy like camouflages himself.
Are you his sister?
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, that looked just like Foxy. Could it be? And he's like, you're his sister, aren't you?
Foxy trap counter. The fact that he says you're his sister and you just get this instant panel of Luffy's face getting bitten. Oh, that's some good comedic timing. And then,
chapter 316 is straight up called Brother Soul. This is, like, Sanji said it first, and then I think like it's said like 3 or 4 more times later. Like even the audience is like, his inner soul brother's coming out. It's so fun. Man. Oda's a brother.
So. Of course, he's one of the culture. Another great panel of like the spikes, the afro spiking up.
Yeah, this is also fucking funny. The Gorilla Puncher 13, he goes on this rant about how like it's been perfectly streamlined. There's no unnecessary components, and Luffy's like, "Yeah, the Gorilla Head's necessary," and he's like, "Shut up." I don't care what anybody says about this fucking arc, the Davy back fight arc. This is fucking funny.
No, it's hilarious.
I fucking love it. So yeah, I don't know. It's actually a really tense situation here where Luffy's trapped in this room with the slow beams and the punches and the fire.
This is actually the most we've ever seen Luffy get beaten up.
Yeah, he actually gets like
he's getting
knocked
fucked
out for a little bit.
Yeah.
I like how he uses the mirror as a racket and he's able to like bounce around the things.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's fun little.
And this is funny. Whenever they get back outside, we see all the Straw Hats, and
you're gonna just gloss over the gag where Luffy just punches the mirror.
Oh yeah, he's like, if it's bouncing off the mirror,
I mean, of course.
I think it's funny. We see the Straw Hats, and Zoro's like, he won't lose this, and Chopper's like, you're right, this is Luffy we're talking about, and Usopp's like, yeah, Luffy with an afro. And I love it because Robin's even like, yeah, he did look cool.
You're right.
Do you think the afro could increase his power?
What if Luffy just had an afro for the rest of the
Because his opponent's a rubber man. Yeah, a rubber man with an afro.
Luffy's just going to buy into the afro thing, and the rest of the story, he has an afro.
God, I wish.
And it's funny because another 1 or 2 pages later, the crowd is cheering like, he's got the soul of a brother, afro power.
I like the slow sword.
That is fucking cool.
It's a cool implementation of his power to just lock it. If you lock a very small sliver of someone's body, you still stop them from moving.
Yeah, man, the slow sword is really fucking cool. And Luffy continues getting a beat down, and he says, "You know, I'm not gonna lose a member of my crew, even if it kills me." And so, this isn't totally a nonsense arc. You know, this is showing the links Luffy's gonna go to for his crew.
You're actually super right, and this is one of those thematic things I wanted to bring up. It's this arc, as goofy as it is, it's really showing how hard Luffy as a captain will fight in order to make sure he doesn't lose even a single crew member, and I really like that.
He doesn't want to lose his crew members, and he doesn't want to lose respect as a pirate, because the reason he's doing this is because, like, this is a tradition on the Grand Line, and, you know, if he didn't accept this duel and he didn't play by the rules, he would lose this respect as a pirate. And if we know one thing about Luffy, he wants to be a fucking pirate. So
yeah, I can say though that I think that's where the volume ends.
Yeah. Everyone buy Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan.
The actual Davy back portion of the Long Ring arc ends next chapter, so you're right there. I mean, there's some follow up after that. And then you get a little bit more, and then you're in Water 7.
We have some new advertisements in this volume that weren't in some of the other ones. Ooh. Like Slam Dunk.
Slam Dunk do be good, or so I hear.
So, man, y'all, that was 3 volumes of One Piece.
That was a podcast worth.
This is a long fucking Did we start at 2?
We started at 2, and it is now
6.
Oh my god. We started at 2 something, yeah.
Fuck.
But you know what?
Man, Willer, the second chapter in the next volume.
It's time?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Y'all, it's fucking dinner time.
Goodbye, everyone. I hope y'all have a lovely beginning of the year. I might separate the Foxy section from this podcast because we're also talking about Worm after this, cough, cough. So it would be too long of a podcast with that also in there. So I may put the Foxy section in as like a bonus of next.
I had a thick fucking stack of sticky notes I used.
Shit, dog. Let me see those bad boys.
Well, go give them the next volume.
Goddamn. Well, I'm gonna go read the next volume. That's probably what I'm gonna do now. In the mood. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And